Why play the game? The game of football offers to all participants an opportunity to have fun while working toward a common goal. Players often speak about their love of the game and the enjoyment it brings to them, and how they miss it once they no longer can play. While the game involves hard work, it should ultimately be fun for everyone. Because football is an equal opportunity team sport, where performance is important, not race, color, or creed, and where players automatically become dependent on one another, it is only natural that teammates should and will develop friendships that will last well past their playing years. Playing on a team, seeing their skills and techniques improve, knowing that they can compete, all contribute to each participant building and gaining confidence in themselves and those playing next to them. As players go through their football careers, they will naturally learn the importance of being aware and working hard to maintain their physical health and wellness in order to improve and perform at a high level. In addition to having fun, developing friendships, gaining and building confidence, competing and improving their physical health, the sport of football also provides a unique opportunity for each participant to learn invaluable life skills that they will use way beyond the end of their active participation on the field. Responsibility. Players quickly learn that being part of a football team requires that they assume personal responsibility to master the techniques needed to play their position, learn the assignments for their position, be on time for each and every practice and game, be prepared to participate, plus carry over the same dedication to their work in the classroom in order to enjoy the privilege of being on the team. Goal setting. Prior to the start of every season, teams set goals for the year, and players should set individual goals. These goals need to outline what they desire to achieve and what they need to do to reach each goal and have success. Players soon learn that dreaming of success in reaching a goal and not spending the time, effort, and perseverance to work to achieve a goal will only allow them to become successful dreamers. Sportsmanship. Every player soon learns the importance of always playing within the rules. Sportsmanship teaches players to treat their opposing players and coaches, as well as officials, with respect, and to have a respect for the game itself. Self-discipline. Playing football teaches you the importance of controlling your emotions and not overreacting, even when you become upset at some action or call on the field. Hopefully, from participation in the game, you will learn to stop, think, and calm down before you react to any situation at school or at home. Decision-making. Every day in practice and in every game, players will need to make instant decisions that can often determine the outcome of a game. With each decision, players learn to consider their options and make a decision. After the decision is made, it is important that they also learn to accept the responsibility for their decision. Teamwork. Playing football requires that every player submerge his or her individual identity during a game for the good of the team. It is only through players working together to reach a common goal that the team will have a chance to enjoy success. Functioning as one unit should be the goal of every player on the team. Leadership. Being an effective leader on a football team, as in life, requires that an individual lead by example. They must not only show great skill in their own performance, but they also make the time to assist and help other players on the team. Being a leader requires a player to often take the initiative in calming other players when emotional situations occur on and off the field, and being dedicated to the sport. Perseverance. The sport of football offers every player the opportunity to learn to face and overcome adversity, to get blocked, tackled, or knocked down, and then to rise up, determined to continue and do better next time. It teaches a player to focus on positive thoughts and actions and eliminate negative thoughts of quitting and not trying again. Learning to meet and overcome any setback is a life skill that will prove valuable all through a player's life. One of the great reasons for playing football is that every player on the team, star, starter, backup, or third stringer, has the same opportunity to benefit from learning the life skills, building confidence, developing friendships, having fun, and creating memories that will last a lifetime. A game for everyone. The game of football is commonly played using 11 players from each team on the field at one time. Some teams and leagues in less populated regions of our country may play a modified version of the game with only 6 or 8 players on the field from each team. Based on the position they play, players will vary in size, speed, overall physical ability, and technique development. Tackle football is a full contact sport. With the help of USA Football, administrators and coaches are constantly adjusting the game to make it safer. Rules are changed when needed prior to every season. Equipment is always undergoing testing and modification to make sure to provide as much protection as possible. Coaches' teaching methods are always under review and changed to provide the safest possible learning environment. Practice plans are formulated to teach the game with a minimum of full contact. The level of contact is closely controlled by the distance the players are apart and the speed at which they conduct the drill. Players are matched when possible by size and temperament when conducting contact drills. Coaches constantly monitor the weather and make certain that the players are properly hydrated during any practice session or game. Abrasions, bumps, and bruises are all part of the game and should be expected during the course of the year. At the start of the season and again weekly during practices, parents, players, and coaches need to make certain equipment fits correctly and is functioning properly for every player. One of the most important pieces of equipment is the helmet. Next would be the shoulder pads, which may vary in size and construction based on the position a player is playing. Hip, thigh, knee, and tail pads, some of which may fit into pre-constructed areas of the player's football pants or compression girdles. Jersey and football pants both should be washed after each practice and following games. Appropriate, well-fitting football cleats are important. Mouthpieces should be fitted properly, cleaned, and kept in a secure carrying case. How the game is played. Football is a competition between two teams played on a designated field within a predetermined time frame. Offense. The offense is a squad of 11 players with possession of the ball. Their job is to move down the field by running or passing the ball. The goal of the offense is to keep possession of the ball and score. Defense. The defense is a squad of 11 players lined up opposite the offensive players. Their job is to stop the offense from advancing the ball. The goal of the defense is to gain possession of the ball for their offense by stopping the offense, not allowing the opposing offense to score, and score when given the opportunity. Special teams. The special teams are composed of a squad of 11 players on each side of the ball. Any player who is on the field when the ball is being kicked is designated a member of the special teams. The job of the special teams is to successfully kick the ball, while the opposing team will try to return or block the kick. The goal will vary with the kick, from changing field position to scoring by returning a kick or making a successful kick. Coaches. The coaching staff for a football team can be any number of individuals, with the recommended number being a ratio of 1 coach for every 6 players whenever possible. The responsibilities of the coaches are to communicate, organize, teach, and motivate the players in a manner that is positive, rewarding, safe, and fun when playing within the rules of the game of football, plus keep a constant positive line of informative communication open with the parents. Officials. The officials for each game have the responsibility of making certain that the field is in proper condition and marked correctly, that the game is played in a safe manner, that all rules are enforced. The officials shall verify that all players are legally equipped and in compliance with league rules, and determine the legality of footballs provided by each team. Coin toss. Each game starts with the officials and the captains of both teams coming together for a coin toss to determine who will kick the ball to the other team to begin the game. The visiting team always makes the call of heads or tails for the coin toss. If their call is correct, they can choose to kick or to receive the ball, defend one end of the field or the other, or defer their choice to the start of the second half of play. When the call of the flip by the visiting team is incorrect, the home team gets to make the choice. The team not making the choice at the start of the game will automatically make the choice at the start of the second half of play. Downs. The offense is given 4 opportunities called downs to gain 10 yards toward the opponent's end of the field. The offense can gain the needed 10 yards by running or passing the ball, or by a penalty being assessed against the opposition. Anytime the 10 yards are gained on any down in the series, the process begins all over with a new series of 4 downs starting at first down. The ball is placed where the previous play ended, or in the case of an incomplete pass, the previous spot for the start of the following down when the 10 yards are not gained. The downs progress in order: first, second, third, fourth, with the yardage needed for a first down calculated at the end of each play and identified as second and 7, third and 3, fourth and 1 as examples. When a team needs less than 10 yards to score a touchdown, the down and yardage will be identified as first, second, third, or fourth, and goal. On fourth down, and if the team has not gained the needed 10 yards, they must make a decision to kick the ball or try once more to gain the needed yards. When the offense tries to run or pass on fourth down and fails to gain the needed yards, the opponent takes possession of the ball at the spot the fourth down play ended. Huddle. Following each down, the players from the offense and the defense come together in a huddle to learn what they are going to do on the next play. Offense. In the offensive huddle, the quarterback will tell the other 10 players on the offense the formation, how they are going to line up on the next play, the play call, what play they're going to run, and the snap count, when the center will snap the ball to start the play. Defense. In the defensive huddle, one designated player, usually a linebacker, will tell the other 10 players on the defense the front, how the line and linebackers will line up, any stunts or blitzes, special movements by the line or linebackers, and the pass defense, the coverage the team will use to stop a pass. Both teams will break the huddle, line up correctly, and be ready for the next play to begin, with the offensive team having the advantage of knowing what play is going to be run and when the play will begin. Change of possession. Change of possession occurs when the offense does not gain 10 yards in 4 downs. When the team with the ball kicks the ball away, when the team attempts to score by kicking the ball and fails, or when the defense gains control of the ball by creating a turnover. The opponent's offensive team comes on the field with a new set of 4 downs to gain 10 yards. Method of scoring and timing of the game. The team with the most points at the end of the game wins. In football, there are 4 ways for a team to score points. A team can score a touchdown worth 6 points by having a player with the ball cross the opponent's goal line, having a receiver catch a pass in the opponent's end zone, having a player recover a loose ball in the opponent's end zone. A team can score a field goal worth 3 points by kicking the ball from a hold between the goalpost and over the crossbar of the opponent's goalpost. A team can score a point after touchdown, PAT, or extra point, following a touchdown worth either 1 or 2 points by running the ball across the opponent's goal line, 2 points, catching a pass in the opponent's end zone, 2 points, kicking the ball from a hold between the goalpost and over the crossbar, 1 point. In order to encourage the development of the kickers, some leagues have changed the awarding of points for a point after to 2 points for a kick and 1 for running or passing to score. A team can score a safety worth 2 points when ball carriers are tackled in their own end zone, offensive players commit a foul in their own end zone, a blocked punt goes out of the kicking team's end zone. Timing of the game. The game is played in 4 periods, quarters, of 12 minutes each. The first and second quarters combine for the first half of the game, and the third and fourth quarters combine for the second half of the game. Intermission between the first and second half of the game is usually 15 minutes. The game clock used to time the game stops during the game if either team scores, either team calls a timeout, 3 each half per team, there is any unusual delay, like an injury, at the end of a play if a penalty is called. During the last 2 minutes of each half, the game clock will also stop when there is a foul, the ball goes out of bounds, a forward pass is incomplete, a first down is gained and a new series begins, a touchback or fair catch occurs, an inadvertent whistle is sounded. 25 seconds are allowed in between each play and known as the play clock. Many leagues made up of younger players may elect to have the game clock run continuously and only stop for a score, timeout, or injury. The offense segment of the football team is further divided into 3 main groups with specific positions within each group. The 3 major groupings for the offense are the offensive line, the receivers, and offensive backs. Each group will have specific assignments it needs to accomplish for the offense to move the ball down the field and ultimately score. By rule, the offensive team must have 7 players lined up on the line of scrimmage when the ball is snapped and the play begins. The offensive line normally consists of 5 players, a center, 2 guards, and 2 tackles, whose job is to block opposing players on all plays run by the offense. Offensive linemen are usually bigger and or stronger than the other offensive players and need good balance and quickness in a limited area. It is difficult for any offense to have success without a well-coordinated, efficient offensive line. The 5 offensive linemen must line up on the line of scrimmage. The center lines up over the ball. In addition to blocking assignments, the center begins every play by moving the ball to the quarterback, either by direct snap or by a shotgun snap. The 2 guards line up on either side of the center. The 2 tackles line up, one on either side of the 2 guards. For teams that run the ball more than they pass, the tight end may be considered part of the offensive line. The tight end will line up on the line of scrimmage on the outside of the offensive tackle and be used primarily as a blocker. The tight end may be smaller and have the ability to run pass routes and catch the ball. The receivers group usually starts with one or two players, a flanker and a split end, whose job it is to block on running plays and to run proper pass routes and be able to catch and run with the ball. Often, they will be asked to block linebackers or defensive backs rather than bigger defensive linemen. The flanker will line up off the line of scrimmage and split away from the tight end. When the receiver lines up as a wingback, his alignment will be off the line of scrimmage and just outside the position of the tight end. The wingback may be used as a ball carrier in some offenses. The split end lines up on the line of scrimmage, on the side of the field away from the tight end, split out from the offensive tackle. Either the flanker or split end can become ball carriers when the offense runs a reverse play. The offensive backfield will usually be made up of three players. One quarterback, who should be a good athlete, smart, understand the offense, and be able to handle the pressure of the position. In addition, there will be one fullback, who must be able to block on both run and pass plays, carry the ball, especially running inside the offensive tackles, and run some pass routes to catch the ball. And one halfback or tailback, whose primary assignments will be to carry the ball on many running plays, run proper pass routes, catch the ball, and serve as a blocker. The quarterback serves as the leader of the team, calls the play, formation, and snap count in the huddle, breaks the huddle, brings the team to the line of scrimmage, and at the line calls out the cadence to start the play. He receives the snap from the center and either hands the ball off to another player, passes the ball to a receiver, or runs with the ball. The quarterback lines up directly behind the center to receive the ball, or 4 yards behind the center if he's receiving a shotgun snap. The fullback will line up behind the quarterback or directly behind one of the offensive tackles. The halfback can line up behind one of the offensive tackles or behind the fullback in an I formation. The defense segment of the football team is further divided into 3 main groups, with specific positions within each group. The 3 major groupings for the defense are the defensive line, linebackers, and defensive backs. Each group will have specific assignments it needs to accomplish for the defense to stop the offense and to force the offense to give up the ball or to gain possession of the ball on an interception or fumble recovery and return the ball down the field trying to score. There is no set number of defensive players who must be lined up on the line of scrimmage when the ball is snapped and the play begins. In identifying a defense, the first number will usually indicate the number of defensive linemen being used in the game, and the second number will indicate the number of linebackers playing in the game. Example 6-2 equals 6 defensive linemen and 2 linebackers. The defensive line may consist of 3 players, 1 nose tackle and 2 defensive ends. 4 players, 2 defensive tackles and 2 defensive ends. 5 players, 1 nose tackle, 2 defensive tackles, 2 defensive ends. Or 6 players, 2 defensive guards, 2 defensive tackles, 2 defensive ends. The actual number of defensive linemen used in the game will depend on the defense your team is using. Their basic job is to defeat the blocks of opposing players, locate the ball carrier on running plays and help on the tackle, pressure the quarterback and hurry the throw, deflect the pass or sack the quarterback on pass plays. Defensive linemen are usually bigger and or stronger than the other defensive players and need good balance and quickness in a limited area. The nose tackle will line up in front of the offensive center. The two defensive guards in a 6-2 defense will line up on the line of scrimmage in front of the offensive guards. In a 4-4 or 4-3 defense, the two defensive tackles will line up in front of the two offensive guards. In a 5-2 defense, the two defensive tackles will line up in front of the offensive tackles. In a 3-4 and 4-3 defense, the two defensive ends will line up in front of the two offensive tackles. In a 5-2 and 6-2 defense, the two defensive ends will line up on the outside on the line of scrimmage or over a tight end if there is one on his side. The linebackers in the game may consist of only one player, one middle backer, two players, both inside linebackers, three players, one middle backer and two outside backers, four players, two inside backers and two outside backers. The actual number of linebackers used in the game will depend on the defense your team is using. Their basic job is to defeat the blocks of opposing players, locate the ball carrier, and help on the tackle on running plays. On pass plays, they will drop into an area of the field for zone pass coverage, run with a particular receiver for man pass coverage, or pressure the quarterback and hurry the throw, deflect the pass, or sack the quarterback on pass plays. Linebackers are usually bigger and stronger than the defensive backs and need good balance, quickness in a limited area, and overall good speed to be able to pursue ball carriers. In a 6-1 or 4-3 defense, the middle linebacker will usually line up off the line of scrimmage in front of the offensive center. In a 5-2 or 3-4 defense, the two inside linebackers will line up off the line of scrimmage directly in front of either offensive guard. In a 4-4 defense, the two inside linebackers will line up off the line of scrimmage behind the defensive tackles directly in front of either offensive guard. In a 4-4 defense, the two outside linebackers will line up off the line of scrimmage directly in front of a tight end if there is one on his side. In a 3-4 or 4-3 defense, the one outside linebacker will often move up on the line of scrimmage directly in front of the tight end, while the other outside backer will move back of the line and be outside the defensive lineman in front of him. The defensive backs will make up the rest of the 11 defenders, and the number will depend on the number of defensive linemen and linebackers being used in the game. 3 players, 2 corners and 1 free safety. 4 players, 2 corners, 1 free safety, and 1 strong safety. The actual number of defensive backs used in the game will depend on the defense your team is using. Their basic job is defend against any offensive pass play by dropping into an area of the field for zone pass coverage or run with a particular receiver for man pass coverage and intercepting the pass, causing a deflection or tackling the receiver. On running plays, they should defeat the blocks of opposing players, locate the ball carrier, and help on the tackle. Defensive backs are usually the smallest and the fastest players on the defense. The defensive backs need good balance, quickness when changing direction, good jumping and catching ability, a mental toughness, and sure tackling ability. The 2 corners in either a 3 or 4-man defensive backfield will usually line up 7 or 8 yards off the line of scrimmage and just inside or outside of the outside receiver on their side of the offensive formation, based on the defense being run on that play. The 2 corners can move up on the line of scrimmage in front of the receiver or play off only 5 yards, again based on the defense called. In a 3-player defensive backfield, the free safety will line up 9 to 10 yards off the line of scrimmage, directly in front of the offensive center and quarterback. In a 4-player defensive backfield, the free safety may line up 9 to 10 yards off the line of scrimmage, directly in front of the offensive center and quarterback, or on one hash mark favoring one half of the field. In a 4-player defensive backfield, The strong safety may line up 7 yards off the line of scrimmage and 2 yards outside the tight end, or 10 yards off the line of scrimmage on one hash mark, favoring one half of the field. The special teams segment of the football team is further divided into 6 separate groups of 11 players with specialists within each group. The 6 major groupings are the kickoff team, the kickoff return team, the punt team, the punt return team, the PAT field goal team, and the PAT field goal defense team. Each group will have a specialist for that particular phase of the kicking game. Special teams are used to try to score, PAT field goal, or to change possession of the ball and field position, punt or kickoff. The kickoff team will be used at the start of each half and following a score by lining up across the field. The specialist for the kickoff team will be the kicker, whose job it is to position the ball for the kick, line up correctly to make the kick, and to kick the ball downfield. The other 10 players are responsible for staying behind the kicker until the ball is kicked, then running down the field and tackling any opponent who tries to return the kick. The kickoff return team will line up on the field when the opponent is kicking off. The players can be lined up in various locations on the field based on the return being used by the team. The specialist on the kickoff return team will be the 2 players lined up deep down the field whose job it is to catch the kick and return the ball as far as possible. The returner not making the catch will serve as a blocker. The other 9 players on the kickoff return team will block for the player returning the kick. The punt team will be used usually on 4th down, when the offense has failed to gain the necessary 10 yards for a first down. Punting the ball causes a change of possession and field position. The punt team has 2 specialists, the long snapper, center, whose job it is to snap the ball back to the punter, and the punter, whose job it is to line up correctly to make the punt, to catch the snap from the center, and to punt the ball down the field. After the snap and the punt, both specialists become active in tackling the opposing punt returner. The other 9 players line up and block the opposing players until the punt is made, and then run down the field to tackle the opposing punt returner. The punt return team will line up on the field when the opponent is punting. The players can be lined up in various locations on the field based on the return being used by the team. The specialist on the punt return team will be the 2 players lined up deep down the field whose job it is to catch the punt and return the ball as far as possible. The returner not making the catch will serve as a blocker. The other 9 players on the punt return team will force the punter to make the punt and then block for the player returning the kick. The PAT, point after touchdown, and field goal team will line up on the field when one team is trying to kick the ball from a hold between the goalposts and over the crossbar to score points. There are 3 specialists on the PAT field goal team. The short snapper, center, whose job it is to snap the ball back to the holder and then block. The holder, who must catch the snap and place the ball on the kicking tee correctly. The kicker, whose job it is to line up correctly to make the kick, to signal the holder that he is ready, and then to make the kick. The other 8 players have the responsibility to block the opposing players until the kick is made. The PAT field goal defense team will line up anytime the opposition is trying to score by kicking a PAT or field goal. A majority of players will be assigned to rush the kicker through assigned gaps and try to block the kick. Certain players may have the responsibility to defend against any fake kick, where the other team runs or passes. Where the game is played. The game of football is played on a rectangular field that is 360 feet or 120 yards in length and 160 feet or 53.33 yards in width. End line. The end line is a marking extending across the back of each end zone and is 160 feet long. Sideline. The sideline markings extend across the length of each side of the field and are 360 feet long. Both the end line and the sideline markings are not in the field of play. A player touching either line is said to be out of bounds. Goal line. The goal line is a marking extending across the beginning of each end zone and is 160 feet long. 8 pylons or flags should be located on the field, 2 at the intersection of each end line and sideline, and 2 at the intersection of each goal line and sideline. Yard line. The yard lines are markings extending across the field from sideline to sideline every 5 yards and are 160 feet long. Hash marks. The hash mark markings are placed 1 yard apart, going the length of the field, 53 feet and 4 inches from each sideline. Hash marks may not be on every field. When a play ends outside the hash mark, the ball is brought to the nearest hash mark for the next play. When the play ends between the hash marks, the ball is placed there for the next play. Line of scrimmage. The line of scrimmage is an imaginary line, extending from the ball to each sideline that is used to designate where the teams line up prior to the start of the next play. Additional optional markings may include restricted area markings 2 yards from the outer boundaries of the field, extending around the entire field. Coaches' boxes, extending on either side of the field from the 25-yard line to the 25-yard line. Goal post. The goal post is located in the center of the field at either end of the field and is composed of 2 upright posts extending 10 feet above crossbar and 23 feet 4 inches apart. A crossbar 10 feet above the ground, 23 feet and 4 inches in length, with the front edge even with the inside edge of the end line. The goal post should be padded at least 6 feet above the ground. 1 directional wind streamer may be attached to the top of each upright. Chain crew. The chain crew is a 3-person crew which controls the chains or line to game and consists of the chain, which is made up of 2 rods and a 10-yard chain. A separate down marker that moves with the ball and indicates the down coming up and marks the spot of the ball. The chain crew, the chains, and down marker will be located 2 yards outside of the sideline.